Good morning, welcome to CATEX-TV. My name is Frank Fortunato. This is a live broadcast from Princeton, New Jersey. Today is Tuesday, July 20th, 2010. It's 11:30 a.m. Eastern Daylight Time in the U.S., 4:30 p.m. in London, 6:30 p.m. in Beirut, Lebanon, and 10:30 a.m. in Mexico City. If you need to reach us during the broadcast, you can phone in toll-free at 1-866-67-CATEX. Overseas, our AOL instant mail address is CATEX-TV. On this day in history, 66 years ago today, in East Prussia at the Wolf's Lair, Count von Stauffenberg planted his suitcase bomb in an attempt to kill Adolf Hitler. The bomb was subsequently moved after von Stauffenberg left the room by a Captain Brandt, so it remained on the other side of a heavy oak partition that supported the table. The bomb exploded. Hitler was obviously not killed. Very brave men died that night, including von Stauffenberg, executed by the Gestapo. Now to our main news. The main news is the continuing success of British Petroleum's cap. It's been determined now by the government that the seepage, the bubbles that have been spotted on the various cameras, are probably nothing important. They may just be escaping methane gas. The pressure under the cap continues to build slowly. BP and the government now are optimistic that in fact the cap might be able to remain on until the relief well is finished. According to Admiral Thad Allen, the administration's point man on this, small amounts of oil and gas have continued to come from the cap, but we do not believe that they are consequential at this time. So that's good news. Here's some news from Goldman Sachs. They made some news. They announced this morning that profit in the second quarter was down 86% from the first quarter of 2010. They only made $613 million for the quarter, or 78 cents a share. The announcement, of course, comes just a few days after it agreed to pay $550 million to settle the SEC lawsuit. And also, just 2 weeks ago, Goldman paid $600 million in a one-time tax to the British government on bonuses for bank executives there. Goldman's revenue from stock trading dropped 84% from the last quarter, while revenue from bond and fixed income fell 40%. I'd still like to have a quarter where you had a bad quarter and you only made $613 million. We're getting some more information now from the oil spill in Dalian, China, in the Xinjiang harbor. Firefighters have managed to control the situation following a pipeline explosion that took place Friday night. Apparently now, according to rumors in Dalian, there are indications that authorities may have been informed of the likelihood of such a disaster happening before it occurred. According to an investigation team, the explosion occurred as a 300,000-ton Liberian crude oil tanker was unloading oil. An unnamed local official has said that an environmental report of last year for the company responsible for the pipeline had already been warned of the possibility of an explosion. Quote, "The safety and fire measures might not have been according to accepted standards," the official said. In 2006, the then National Environmental Protection Bureau, a Chinese government agency, reported on the environmental risks of the petrochemical industry. 8 petrochemical projects in Dalian were on the risk list. 5 of these projects are located in the area of Xinjiang Harbor, where the Friday night explosion occurred. The crude oil that exploded comes from Saudi Arabia. It's a high sulfur crude oil. It's highly flammable. The cause of the explosion might also be connected with the self-ignition of the ferrous sulfide formed from the sulfur in the crude oil. Yesterday we spoke about Mark Tucker. He's the new AIA chief. Mr. Tucker is not standing still. He walked into the Hong Kong office of AIA today and he told the staff that he plans to increase the unit's value 3 times. He's going to triple it, up to $100 billion. This is in a large private meeting of employees in Hong Kong. He said that running AIA would be his last job. Tucker faces a difficult task at AIA in replacing Mark Wilson, who is seen by many as having defended AIA's corner against both Prudential and AIG's chief executive Bob Benmosh. It's thought now that after AIA does its IPO, that AIA may put in a bid for Prudential Asia Corporation. That's difficult to see because Prudential maintains that growth in Asia is the company's future. How the worm turns. It was just last month that Prudential UK was going to buy AIA. Navigator Syndicate 1221 is making news. They've become the latest Lloyd's syndicate to co-locate with Lloyd's into Brazil. Lloyd's is an admitted reinsurer in Brazil. Earlier this month, Bermuda-based Ariel opened a representative office in Rio. However, Max Thierman of Allianz Seguros said that changes, actually liberalizations in the Brazilian reinsurance laws, have brought new problems, including, as he noted, sufficiently skilled staff. He recently said in a speech in Prague that there are simply not enough trained people in Brazil. Stock market is down about 56 points right now. We'll go to a quick word from our sponsors. The London-based stockbroker Jefferies is making a little bit of news in our area today. They're referring to the potential £800 million, possible £800 million, Brit Insurance Apollo buyout deal. Jefferies is rating it that there's a 50% chance that the deal will collapse. Analysts at Jefferies released their inaugural coverage of 5 London-quoted specialist reinsurers, Amlin, Brit, Catlin, Hiscox, and Lancashire. So you couldn't very well evaluate Brit without mentioning the potential swirl of acquisition rumors around it. In the United States, the Council of Insurance Agents and Brokers have released their second quarter commercial P&C market index survey. According to the council, U.S. commercial P&C prices dropped 6.4% in the second quarter of 2010. This compares with a 5.3% decline in Q1 and a 4.9% decrease in Q2 of 2009. The council attributed the fall to excess capacity chasing market share. Quote, "It's the same old story," said Council President Ken Quirar in a statement. Carriers continue to fight aggressively for new business as capacity flows into the market. Well, the Channel Tunnel operator Eurotunnel warned that it's going to post a loss this year if insurance payments linked to a fire almost 2 years ago continue to be blocked. Even though sales in the first half rose 22% up to £282 million, the company reported a net loss of £38 million. It blamed an increase in the cost of financing its debts, as well as the absence of payment from insurers. So far, Eurotunnel has received €157 million in compensation for the losses from the fire in September of 2008, which led to the tunnel being closed for nearly 5 months. However, the final payment of almost €60 million has been blocked by claims from railway firms, Eurostar, and the Société Nationale des Chemins de Fer, the French national railroad system. The court hasn't hung up. Well, in the United States, in just a few short minutes, the new Prime Minister, David Cameron, is going to be visiting the White House for the first time as the PM. Cameron is expected to discuss several issues with President Obama, including progress in the war in Afghanistan, reviving the global economy, and British Petroleum's responsibilities over the oil spill in the Gulf of Mexico. The two have met previously as leaders of their countries just at the G8 summit in Toronto back in June. Ahead of the meeting, Cameron has indicated that he's going to seek to continue to work together with Washington on common areas, but he doesn't want to appear too slavish to American interests. And of course is a shot at Tony Blair, who was often referred to as Bush's lapdog. Writing in the Wall Street Journal this morning, Cameron said Britain was clearly junior to its, quote, oldest and staunchest ally,